All right, cool. Today we're going to be talking about, let's see, make sure I can move this around. We're going to be talking about getting listings, marketing. Let's see, the only way I can move to your team is to be out for 6 months. No, there's a difference between sponsorship and team. You can always join a team. You can't change sponsors without, an act of God, practically. All right. So I'm going to copy a link and I'm going to paste it into everybody. And some of you are going to be nice and keep a copy of the link in case other people join and say, what's he talking about? How do I get that? All that sort of stuff. And you're welcome to tell those people, be on time. Right?
A few weeks ago, the link that you gave us, so I was trying to go in yesterday. It's no longer.
You'd have to give me a clue as to what it was about.
I believe it's about, I forgot.
Well, I need a topic.
Okay.
Right.
I will let you know. Yeah.
Because I may have changed it, moved it, or something like that, but no one else has complained recently, so I don't know.
All right.
I need to know the topic. I'd be happy to sell you a copy. Okay. Maybe that's not the right way to put it, but all right. So this is what the document should look like. And if you're on my team, I usually post these things in the workplace group. I'm turning my phone around so that I won't see all of the text messages that I oftentimes get while I'm talking. We're talking about we're talking about farming. And we talked about it a little bit last week in that we discussed sort of how to pick a farm. That's referring to a geographic farm. There's demographic farms. There's psychographic farms, which is where you're working with people with specific hobbies, lifestyles, things like that. All of that works because the good news about real estate is that everybody you know and everybody you meet pretty much is a potential client, in that they're likely to want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, if not now, sometime in the future, mostly in the future, which is why the fortune is in following up with people. So just about anything you do that puts you in contact with other human beings is likely to be able to produce business for you if you don't blow it and you follow up with the people. Now, we talked a little bit about why farming and turnover rates and things like that. I'm not going to do that again. It's valuable for you to have a easily identifiable brand in that you want to create recognition. Now, that can be overdone. I've been to, seminars where they're saying every time you market, you ought to have the same picture, the same color, the same logo, the same, everything's the same. Everything got to be the same. And if it's not the same, you're blowing it. You don't know how to brand yourself. And what I like that, what I'm thinking about, how many of you have ever seen there's a commercial on television, right? It's an insurance company. The old ones were about cavemen, right? And it said, it's so simple, even a caveman could figure it. Anybody remember that commercial? And then there was another insurance commercial that was online and on television, where the person's under a rock and the rock moves and then they come up from under the rock. And it's an does anybody remember that company? And then there was these pigs that were driving around and they go in and they're stopped by a police officer. And did you remember what company that was? And then I believe the company had a little mascot, which was a little lizard-like. Does everybody that was all the same company. That was all Geico. right? And they had so many different variations that it was bewildering at times. So, given that the brand always has to look the same and can never change, I'll bet Geico it was just a disaster when it came to selling insurance. Isn't that right? And the person that was running the company must be an idiot because obviously they didn't understand basic branding. Well, the owner of the company is Warren Buffett, and it did, and actually Geico did really, really well. So part of there's a certain point where people get tired of seeing your logo. And in fact, we used to think if we were mailing things in envelopes of ways of changing it so people would not recognize it was from us because they would say, oh, it's that guy again, and they wouldn't even look at it. So there's a certain point where you want to establish a brand, but then there's also another point where you want to mix things up just because you want people to pay attention to it and not necessarily recognize it's from you. I'm just saying. Now, we did talk about, talking to a title rep and finding if you're doing a geographic area and every door direct mail. And these are some of the predictive programs that you could use. Cell Score is something that comes up in Real List, which is software that comes with most MLSs. You could actually pull up a list of everybody that owns a property in a given zip code or neighborhood and that have a likely to sell score. All right. Research. I'm not going to go through all this because I wanted to talk about what would you send to people? I mean, all right, so I have a geographic farm. Now what am I going to do? Well, I could sign up for one of these companies that writes, farming cards for me. They have, spring and summer and fall cards, and they have apple strudel recipes and all that other kind of stuff. Right now, my experience has been that doesn't really work that well. Right. And so, what I would recommend is that the basic, and I have market update twice, but the basic group of what gets people's reaction. Now, there are two kinds of marketing you can do, very generically speaking. You can do image advertising. Image advertising means you're advertising your brand, you're just throwing out stuff so that people see your name and they remember you're still in real estate. But that kind of advertising often doesn't produce a direct response, which is the other kind of advertising, which is called direct response. How many of you have ever heard the marketing term MoFir? MoFir. See how many hands come up? I'm looking anyhow. Somebody probably. So people are saying, can somebody share the link again? Can you share the link again? Can you share the link again? Okay. It was an insurance company. Yes, it was Geico. So MoFir, MoFir, stands for make an offer for immediate response. And what we want to do in that kind of marketing is to get people to actually respond to our marketing. That doesn't necessarily require branding. Right. You understand? So, for example, if I had a postcard, and this is an example of something you might send out, and you've analyzed what's going on in the neighborhood, and you said, okay, the postcard would say, not okay, but the postcard would say, did you know that there were 52 homes that sold in your area in the last 60 days? As a result, the value of your home has changed. I just want to make sure no, I'm recording. I hope I'm recording. All right. Am I recording? It looks like it. Okay.
It says you are.
And it says somebody is at least. Okay. Just want to make sure. There's too many recording buttons sometimes. So let me just check something if that's okay with you. Let me just, all right, so it's still recording. All right. So 52 homes have sold in your neighborhood in the last 60 days. As a result, the value of your house has changed. Want to know in which direction and by how much? Give me a call. See, now that's not a branding dependent kind of thing, right? And somebody might say, "Oh, I didn't realize the value of my home has changed. I want to know," right? And then they might call you. The standard, what would I send to people that would get them to talk to me, market, call me is, so would somebody paste the link to the document in the chat as I'm going along? Because I keep getting, I just keep getting the same. I think I keep getting the same questions. I believe
We didn't get the link yet.
I pasted it in, it seems like 3 or 4 times, but I didn't know that it hadn't gone in, which is why I kept, I don't know, I just didn't.
Michael, it did go in, but it comes up with an error. And so the link is not valid. And for anybody, when you want to look at chat, just use the scroll bar on the right, and you can go all the way up to the top and all the way down to the bottom, find links and conversation.
I don't know why it's not. It looks like from my end, I've used this document before and this link, and I don't know why it wouldn't come
Yeah,
up.
the link is working now, the one you just sent.
All right. I'm glad I know that. All right, cool. All right, so what in a normal, I'm marketing to a given area, what would I put in? What would I market? Just listed, just sold, neighborhood updates, and a fourth thing. Right now, I came from a company, in fact, Cecile is familiar with it, that was an extreme farming group, and we were farming every week in certain areas, every week. And the 4 impressions a week would be a just sold, just listed, a market update, and then events or something like that. Holidays, events, that sort of thing would be the 4th one. Now that's a lot of farming. We were handing out flyers and doing other things to save on postage, or you're getting other people to participate in the marketing, but that would be the pattern. Now, let's just talk about how would you actually do those things. And because I want to make sure I cover this, I want to do the market update. All right, I want to do the market update. And the 2 different ways of doing a market update is you could just create a postcard or use the market update in eXp's Marketing Center to send out a market update. And I was going through this with another agent not that long ago, and I realized that I haven't explained this in a little while. So let's look at the different steps. The first step is you want to configure the multiple listing service so that it can make a market update for you. And by the way, I'm not going to be able to read the chat. If you're chatting something that I need to know, say something, because I'm not going to keep going back and looking at the chat, right? I'm just saying, if you really want me to stop or to answer something, or there's a problem, speak, or raise your hand. All right. So a market update postcard or market update flyer, or we're going to talk about market update blog posts, because I have a link to digital marketing, and digital marketing can be done either through KV Core or other digital platforms, and it could be a hyper-local marketing. In other words, we don't just have to send out postcards. We could use digital formats like a blog post, a Facebook page, that sort of thing. But let's say I wanted to do a market update. So normally, if we're doing a narrow geographic farm, we would be picking single family, condo, townhomes, not necessarily all 3. If I were doing a market update, what's going on in Morgan Hill, I might do all 3. And I'll show you what I mean by that, but why not? So I'm going to select the property type. I'm going to, let me just do this. I'm going to select the property type. I only want to know about active, contingent, pending, and sold. And let's say I'm going to do Morgan Hill. Now I'm doing this. This is sort of a general one. What we would really want to do is create, remember in the previous one, we looked at a map, we found out where the listings were, we found an area that we liked, we created a little search box around it, and then we could save that search. So if there's a particular area in Morgan Hill that I'm farming, if it was the Del Monte area or something like that, I could have saved the search for that area. So we're pretending that I've done that. Now, if I go here and I only pick the last 3 days, you can see there are 12 matches. Now, if it's a postcard, 8, 10, 12, 14 is pushing it because we want everything to fit on a postcard. If we're doing an 8.5 by 11 flyer because we're using every door direct mail and we've got somebody else paying for half of it or whatever, now we could show a lot more sales than 8, 10, 12, 14 at the max. But let's assume we're doing a postcard. We want a nice tight group of active pendings and solds. All right. So we've done that. 12 is a good number. We click on results. And this is what the MLS is going to look like. Now, this is matrix. I'll do a snippet of Paragon, and Rapid-Tony works like Paragon, but you can do this in any MLS. Now, what I want to do is I'm looking at this, and if you'll notice in the handout, I had a list here of what my custom exports would be. Right? And I'll go back to the KV Core in the Marketing Center, but we want to run some numbers. I would do it in this order: status, street name, beds, bath, square foot, age, list price, sales price. Now, what that means, so I'm looking here at my results, you'll notice it's got a whole bunch of stuff, including stuff that I don't want and not including some stuff that I do want. So what I would do is I would start, do I really care if there's a number? Not for this purpose. So I'm going to remove that column. I don't really care about that. I'm going to remove that column. I don't care about that. I'm going to remove the column. I don't care about that. I'm going to remove the column. Status, yeah, I want the status, but I want it to say the word status because I'm lazy and I don't want to have to type it out later. So I'm going to go to insert column and I'm going to type in status. And there it be. And I click on apply. And now I have status. Oh, but I want the status to the left of the street name. So I'm going to pull it over. I don't really care about the MLS number. I don't want the MO, which is a members only thing. I don't really care about that. I'm trying to get rid of it. I don't care about that. And I don't care about that. All right. So if you look at my list, it's status, it's the name of the street. It's not the whole address, but the number in the street, not everything. And then what else is on my list? Beds, baths, and square footage. Okay, so we go over here. We have beds, and I'm going to move that over, and baths. Now, that's a short code in that it's BDS and BTHS. That's okay. If I wanted, because I'm that kind of guy, I wanted to say baths, full, half, or total. If I do that, it's going to spell out baths total, but then I would get rid of the word total later. So what happened to the baths total? Here it is. And wow, that didn't do what I wanted. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm just going to stick with beds, baths. So what else did I want? I wanted the square footage. I'm going to move that over. I'm not going to do lot size because there's just a limit to what we can do. I'm not going to do dollars square foot. I'm not going to do days on market. And the reason is some sellers, some owners get upset that you told everybody that their home has been on the market 200 days. It's not like they don't know. I'm going to move age over. Now, this price is, I don't know, which price is this? What I would like it to say, and I'm going to search by price, I would like one of them to say list price. And then I would like another one to say, and I'll do it over here, price, sale, oops, all right, price, and I have to scroll down, sale price. All right, there we go. So did I get everything? Age, list price, sales price, square foot, beds, bath, street name. It looks like they're all there. All right, looks like it. Now, this is a second price. I don't need it twice. Postal city. If I'm geographically farming, they probably know what city they're in because I'm doing a neighborhood that I know is single family. I get rid of that. 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 Now I have a nice clean little list. I can sort them. Active comes first, contingent, pending, and solds. Oh, that looks nice. It's got everything lined up in a nice column. Well, now what do I do? All right, so I've got that. Now what? I go up to this little guy here, and it says Manage Displays. And what I'm going to do, if I just save it as Agent 1, it's going to make that my default, which isn't really what I want. Because I have more than these. I'm going to say neighborhood update number 2, save a copy. Now I've got a copy. Now what I would do is highlight all of these, go to export, and notice it already says neighborhood update 2. I export it. Apparently I've done this before. I have to move all the different zoom things away, and I click on save. And then hidden up here is when I open it, there it is. I click in the top left corner, I go to format, auto fit column width. I bold the first line because I got issues. I would take out the word total. Baths is fine. Square footage, I take out total. Age, list price, sales price. There we go. It's a neighborhood update. Now, let's say you, and I like to do some of the formatting here. If I do that, then it all lines it up. Left justified over there, center justified there. Okay, now, well, now what? All right. So this is a reasonable neighborhood update for me to use. I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to go to Microsoft Word. And if you're saying, well, I don't have Microsoft Word, you can get a free version of it online. And why am I doing Microsoft Word? Well, because Microsoft Word, if I click on this, now my thing is to be lazy. I mean, my thing is to be time efficient, which means I don't want to have to do things that I don't have to do. If I can find a system that automatically does something and makes it look better and I don't have to do any work, that's for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, where is it? Make it bigger probably to find it, and I have to move that down. Layout, is that right? That's not it. Insert. Here we go. I double click, there we go. I had to click a few more times. If I highlight that, what this is showing me is all of the Microsoft Word layouts. Now, what you might be thinking, well, I could have put it in PowerPoint and they have layouts, and even Excel has layouts. You see this group here where it's dark across the top and then dark on the side. those are in Microsoft Word. I haven't really found them anywhere else. So I could, if I'm black and white, I like blue. I could pick another color. I could get fancy with the colors, but if I do that, it's going to make it look like this. And then it takes a little bit of touch up. So for example, I might make that part like that, and this part like that. And I would make sure that all of the spelling things are all cool, and I might move this over so that it all fits. And all right, well, now what? Oh, now what? So now what I would do is I would just get this away, go down to our basic screen capture program. I would copy this, which I could, because I'm using this came with Windows, I could save it as a image, or I've copied it and I could paste it into something. And I have now created a, I think, visually appealing, right? You could change fonts, you could spend a lot of time doing this, but now I have something that shows what's going on in the market, that I could put in a postcard, I could put in a newsletter, I could put it on my blog, I could put it in an email. You get the idea. Right, and because I've saved that custom display, every time I run a search, I can create this display and export it and create this. At the company that Cecilia and I ran a long time ago, I actually had arranged to have a person who, because we had a lot of agents that were farming, and they would turn in, this is my farm, this is the area, and we would automatically just run, because you'd save it as a search, run the search, export it. I had created a macro for Microsoft Excel that would do all the stuff and get it in the right order, and then copy and paste it into a program like that, create an image, pop the image into the flyer and send it back. Any questions about that?
Michael,
Yeah.
how often would you, sorry.
No, go
How
ahead.
often would you recommend doing this?
Say that again.
How often would you
At
recommend?
least once a month.
Once a month? Okay.
And so I did 3 days for Morgan Hill because I didn't want, hundreds of them. But what you would want to do is your search, and there's a way of saving the search. So anything that happened in the last 30 days. And if you save that search and you saved the display, which is saving the export, then every month you put it in your calendar. It's time to do the market update. And you log into the MLS, you run the search, which goes back 30 days, new list, you export, you pick the export, it comes out, comma separated value file, convert it into a Word, screen capture, and put it into the marketing material. There's another question.
Yeah, it's Neil. The question is, there has to be a disclaimer for the active and pending. Is it actually is somebody else's listing, correct?
No.
No, okay.
So, I know that what I speak sometimes contradicts what other people say. What I'm telling you is the attorney from the California Association of Realtors explain it this way. If you are marketing to a general neighborhood and you are not specifically targeting active listings, then you don't need to put, that if your property is currently listed by another broker, please ignore this. Now, agents do it. Why not? But I've heard the attorneys from CAR talk about this. That doesn't do you any good one way or the other. not legally, not really, nor does it constitute a violation of the National Association of Realtors Code of Ethics provision on soliciting another agent's listing. So for example, let's say all I did was find everybody that has an active listing that's been on the market more than 90 days. And I did a mailer to all of them, just them, saying, I sell homes in 10 days, I guarantee it, I'm the greatest real estate agent in the world, but I put a disclaimer that says this is not intended as a solicitation of another broker's listing. Right? If your property is currently listed with another broker, please ignore this. I'm still going to be dragged in front of an ethics committee and lose. Because that disclaimer does not protect me from the solicitation actions. If I'm not actively soliciting other brokers' listings, the disclaimer is not legally required.
This meeting is being recorded.
Uh-oh. Somebody's recording this to send to Deborah, but go ahead. So does everybody understand what I'm saying? That you can put it there, but does that what the Code of Ethics require? No. They say don't solicit another broker's listing with or without the disclaimer. And simply doing what I'm doing, sending it to a neighborhood, does not constitute soliciting another broker's listing.
The only thing that the disclaimer really does, I think, Michael, is it other agents that aren't as smart as you, they don't realize that. So it looks like it's an out so that they can't come after us.
Right. Well, I'm just saying that I've been through way too many trainings by the CAR legal department, including on, they have a series, which if you have insomnia is a great series to watch, on all of the Code of Ethics, right? Which I've sat through so you don't have to. And they talk about this, and the lawyers say, the Code of Ethics does not require that you put in a disclaimer. And putting in a disclaimer doesn't protect you if you're really violating the Code of Ethics. If you're not violating the Code of Ethics, you don't have anything to worry about. If you are violating the Code of Ethics, the disclaimer will not save you if they catch you. But if you want to put it in, right, because most real estate agents learn real estate out on the street, right? That's where they learn it, on the mean streets of the real estate world, where other grizzled agents tell you, if you don't put that in, they're going to drag you in front of the Code of Ethics and revoke your license and you'll go to jail. That sort of thing. Right?
Michael, can I ask you, you went ahead and I saw everything you did, and thank you. This was really good. I didn't know you can move the columns and I knew you could do some of it, but not all of it. When you exported it in and then you made your adjustments, I gotcha. But what did you said you exported it or imported it into Microsoft Word.
I copied and pasted it into Word. Yeah.
That's all. Okay, so that's all you did. You didn't have, and then you had the template, right? You called that the table design. I just wonder what you clicked because I wasn't able.
You have to. It took me a second to do it. You see, when I'm highlighting up in the top left, there is a cross.
Yeah.
You have to double click on it.
Thank you. I just had never seen the tables before, so that was what. Thank you very much.
You owe me $5. All right.
You got it.
Sure. All right. Now, if you're saying, that's all nice and good, but we're out in the hick area and we don't have any of these fancy programs like Matrix, and so there's nothing we can do. All right. Now, all of the MLS programs have this functionality one way or another, right? They all do. Now, I like Matrix over Paragon or Rapatoni. You guys don't have a lot of control over that either. But let's say I were going to do, and you'd have to create a search, active, contingent, sold. That's all we really want. So we're going to save it. And you can do a map area. right? I'm not going to do a class on Paragon. Rapatoni works pretty much the same way, but your MLS undoubtedly does searches. You could say, I want it to be in Morgan Hill. My program always wants to fill in stuff for me. Here, let me do this because it'll work better. I type in Morgan Hill, and I save. Now it's a little weirder because for me to go back 3 days, I would have to just, I have to click on more things. You would be normally doing 30 days or 7 days or some other different date range. I think we've got them all. Again, you can save this. This says there's only 3, so that's probably because, let me go back a little bit more, still has 3. I don't know why it's not showing me more. Here, let me pick a 7. Here we go, there's 12. Why not? 12, that's all I want. So I'm going to do the search. Okay, so here it comes. Now, over in the right, and this is in Paragon and Rapatoni, there's a drop down and there's spreadsheets, and you see all of these spreadsheets that say MLS defined spreadsheet. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I'm going to show you some other programs to make marketing materials, but all of these are spreadsheets you can modify. So I've clicked on one and here it is in all of its glory. And if I go to customize fields, what I can do is I can go through and first of all, I could call it neighborhood update. And then you guys, I think, have already figured out what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to remove all the fields that I don't want. I'm going to add all the fields I do want, and I'm going to put them in the order I want them, and then I'm going to save them. And once I've done that, which I'm not really going to do right now because I wouldn't use it, once I've done that, I would have the ability to export from that display to a comma separated value file. So I can create a report or a display that has what I want, and then I can apply it and I can export it, and I'm in the same place I would have been with Matrix. Now, if you want more help on Paragon and Rapatoni, if you're in Flex MLS, you're going to have to reach out to the MLS. All of the MLS programs, if you Google searched, how do I create a custom display and export in Rapatoni, which is what's used in Metrolist, Veris, in San Francisco, you'd find there's videos. If you said, how do I create a custom export and a display in Paragon, which is used in San Diego and Alameda and Contra Costa County, it would show you how to do it. And most of the rest of us use Matrix, which I've already shown you how to do. Any questions about that? Neighborhood updates. All right. What else did I want to do? Other options. Okay, what about just listed? What about just sold? How do I do that? Easy way to do it is you go into KV Core, you go to KV Core and you go to listings and company listings. And you want to apply some fields. What fields might you want to apply? Well, some of this takes a little bit of looking, but if we go to options, notice one of the options is just listed. There's a bunch of others, which we could use for other things. But right now, we want to do a just listed. So I'm going to do that. Now, I could pick a particular area. If I wanted to, I could say, I want it to be Morgan Hill. It doesn't like, how about this, 950. I have to turn off this program before it, there we go. All right, so I've done that. I've filters applied. These aren't all Morgan Hill. Apply filters. All right. Here's Sterling Lane, which is, I picked the wrong place to do it. I know that there's other listings because I've checked recently, but I think that they sold. How about something that'll be sure to please 95123. Apply filter. Oh, well. I wonder if there's some issue going on with this.
Michael, do you see it says just agency listings? Also, it came up as a rental, the one before.
Yeah, I know that. It says it's searching everything. I have to all right. It's hiding, my program hides. I'm just going to assume, there we go, it found it. It's the definition of just listed, which is relatively quickly. How about this one? Ophelia. All right. So when I pick the just listed filter, it's like 3 days or something like that, 3 or 5 days. Now, I just did that because I wanted to make it just listed postcard, and therefore I thought it would be better to have one that had just been listed. All right. So I have found a company listing. You can see it's a beautifully landscaped property. By the way, anything in San Jose under $1 million is generally considered a good deal. I'm going to copy the MLS number. All right. I'm going to copy the MLS number. I'm going to go and make this bigger, and I'm going to go to marketing, and I'm going to go to design center, and I'm going to pick on a postcard. Now you'll notice there's social media, right? I'm going to be doing another session, and I've given you a handout for those of you that like to study in advance on using all the different ways you can use KV Core for farming. And farming in that case could even be a bigger geographic area rather than just a neighborhood. But let's say I'm doing postcards today. So I would say I want to do a listing promotion. And so here's some different ones. Usually I'm looking at how many good pictures does the house have. How about this one here? It wants to know what the MLS number is. I put it in, and it should be making me a postcard. And it says just listed, 900,000, beautiful front. Now, you say, I did this quickly. I might pick a house with a better looking front yard. But what you would be doing if you're farming a given area is you would set up a search in the MLS so that anytime your broker lists, sells a house in the neighborhood, and the neighborhood could be a bigger area, you want to get an email so that you can, in your area, say, hey, look at this, it listed, hey, look at this, it's sold. If I wanted to add a QR code, I would do that. And it added a QR code, which I could put either at the front or the back. And oops, I didn't really want to do that. How about that? That's a little bit better. And I've made a QR code. Now you're wondering, well, what does that QR code take people to? It takes them to my branded EXP website with this listing. And now that I've done this, here's the postcard, which you notice I can download, and it's hidden down here, and it's probably hidden over here. Did I pick social media? Maybe I picked social media, but because this looks like just the one thing, but I could download it, I could share it on social media, I could even have it printed or copy a link. Let me go back because I have a feeling I didn't pick print. How about that? Print. And I'm doing listing promotion. That would have been a social media post. And so now I'm going to paste in the MLS number. Now it's making a postcard. Again, beautiful front yard. I can print it with Express Docs. They'll just mail it to me. If I look at the second page, what I would do is I would modify some of this. So for example, are you required to say eXp Realty of California, Inc. and the broker's DRE number? The answer is no, you don't have to do that. Right? What do you have to say? You have to say eXp Realty, right? Which you'll notice so does the logo. Do you have to have the corporate office? They would probably say, yeah, you probably should, but you're not required to do anything, right? You're not really required. Do you have to have eXp Realty's phone number? The answer is no. You don't have to do that. Do you have to have whatever that is, which is the eXp Realty website? The answer is no. You don't actually have to do that. So what are you required to do to comply with eXp and the California Department of Real Estate is you have to name your broker. And by the way, it doesn't matter if you're an eXp Realty of Southern California, Northern California, California Inc., or Greater LA, the phrase eXp Realty is a registered DBA of all of the eXp regions. I've done that, right? There it says it. You have to have your DRE number and your legal name, at least your legal last name. Notice over here, it has all that stuff. So what else could I put in? Remember the QR code thing. I could do that. I have to tell it I want it to go to my website. So I have a QR code. Now I have to remember that there's going to be a postage stamp or something in a label and that sort of stuff. But there's a QR code. I could save and close. I can download the image that I could use to create a postcard. I could have it printed with Express Docs. How hard was that? Now you can make fancier postcards. You can make fancier postcards if you go into the marketing center. And they have fancier postcards. But then you notice I didn't do a whole lot of heavy lifting to make this one. Right? What about one that just closed? That's a just sold. Just sold is another category which I could pick. So I could say just listed, just sold. I saved it. I didn't really want to do it. But anyhow, I could have just listed, just sold, and market update. Oh, it'd be nice if they had one of those. So I go over here, I click on market update. Here's an example. Now, if I've already run the statistics, I could put in August, 2024. This would be active listings, closed sales for the month of August, pending. I'd put in the number, average days on market, average price of something that's sold. I would put in either the name of the city here or the neighborhood or whatever I was doing. And I've created a market update. I go to the back. Again, I get all of the corporate information, which you're welcome to leave if you want to. You modify this because, we want to. You've got your own information. You could add a QR code. You've got a market update. Just listed, just sold, market updates. Easiest way to do it is in KV Core. They'll print it. If you have a credit card, you can download it and get it done yourself. All right. I'm going to spend more time on the individual components, but going back to that mystery document that was hard, I've got some other resources, but at the very top, I'm going to do a class on digital farming with KV Core. And I know we've covered a little bit, but if you wanted to see, okay, I've got a KV Core website, what can I do to get business? Now, if you have any real estate agent website and it's just sitting there, no one's going to go to it, no one's going to find it. It's almost impossible. Right now, if somebody is searching for your name, they might find your website. But if they're searching for homes for sale in Los Angeles, they're not going to find your website. But what you can do is drive people to your website. How would you do that? Well, you could have blog posts. And the blog posts could be, so rather than me creating a, something on a postcard, if I copied this, I haven't done this in a little while, so it means it may not work. But if I go over here and I go to Web and IDX and I go to blog and I say I want to add a post, and by the way, I could import an image, but notice I just pasted in the table. And there is a table option, but it just, pasted it in. If I had saved it as an image, I could have put it in. I could come up with the title. I also could do searches. So I could, and we'll go through some more blog posts. I don't want to get off track. I know you're thinking it's kind of late for not getting off track, but you see, rather than having a postcard that says, here's the recent sales and the active listings and the market statistics for Blossom Valley, you have a blog post that you update every week, every month, that talks about what's going on in Blossom Valley, the real estate market, which you can then share on social media pages. You also can create landing pages and squeeze pages, look at the new listings, here are the open houses, want to see the properties with price reductions. You could post those on business pages and community pages. Core social content, Core social is an extra payment. The listing machine is not. But if you're at EXP, Core social, if you pay them a little bit of money, they will provide content for you that can be posted on social media. And the Core listing machine is how to take a EXP listing and market it, and it'll do some of the social media and other things somewhat automated for you. And so the reason for us, and I'm going to go in more detail, we're going to go through some examples, but blog post, let me just, because I've got 5 minutes left. What would be an example of a blog post y'all could do today that might be of interest to your community and get people to go to your website? What could that possibly be today?
A Labor Day post?
Somebody said Labor Day. So one of the more effective, you see, this is, if all you do is post on social media, just listed, just sold, market updates, just listed, just sold, market updates, just listed, look at me, here's a tip, what kind of remodeling should you do in the fall? People they start to tune you out. But let's say you wanted to create a blog post on, well, what would be a good example? How about this? Things to do in the San Francisco Bay Area this Labor Day weekend. You can see how difficult this is. I went to Google and I typed in things to do in the San Francisco Bay Area this Labor Day weekend. And what I found is sanjose.org has a list of things. Groupon sponsored the San Francisco Peninsula Labor Day things to do, Labor Day weekend, 10 things to do, 25 things to do. And here is some articles, and Google, God bless them, has gone ahead and started to put together their own list, right? Their own list. And if you're into Party Next Door, the 7 Stars Holistic Healing Center, right? And you're in the Richmond area. So one of the things you could do is you could do a search, go through. You don't have to be a content creator. You can be a content collector and a content curator. So you could go through the list, find the ones that look interesting and fun. You copy their description, you give them a link so that if somebody wants more information, it takes them to the page, and you start to put that like in a Google document that you could later copy and paste and put in a blog post. But I know some of you are thinking that sounds like a lot of work. You know, I mean, I have to do the search, I have to click on the links, I have to read the articles, I have to copy stuff, I have to put it in a document, and then I have to copy the document. Oh my God. You know, that's way too much work. So you could go to ChatGPT. I have, you know, the 4.0 works better because and I typed in, create a blog post on ideas for things to do, events to go to in San Jose, California this Labor Day weekend. And it spit out a list. There's the San Jose Giants baseball game, right? There's the Tech Museum, the flea market. Oh, that's okay. There's a list. Right now, I might be able to, you know, find better ones, but that took even less work than the one before. I also could go to Copilot, and Copilot has some weird stuff. I mean, I'm just saying, right? There, the bachata brunch and Labor Day social dancing, the dive pool parties. Notice this is a bit of a different list. Again, I said create a blog post on ideas for things to do, events to go to in San Jose, California this Labor Day weekend. If you have your free Perplexity account and you paste it in the same thing, you get another list. This one has the San Jose Brew Bike Bar Tour. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. Does everybody understand that? And Gemini, another free program, this one is run by Google. I did this, asked it the same question, and I got another list. Let's say I wanted to get party ideas, Labor Day barbecue ideas, Labor Day. You understand, you just have to ask, right? And if you can't think of what to ask, you could go to one of our future tech overlords and say, give me a list of ideas for a real estate agent to blog about regarding Labor Day weekend. And
Here's a list of blog post ideas tailored for a real estate professional to capital.
Yeah. I have my ChatGPT speaks to me. Sometimes it's the only one that wants to talk to me.
Do you speak to it? Is the question.
Yes, I do. I can turn it on and talk to it because I'm really lazy. And if I click on this button, I can tell it when I want it to tell me. All right. So could you do that? Right? You see, by putting it in the blog, first of all, we have more control over space and links and all that other kind of stuff. We can take that and paste it on social media. And this might actually have some interesting things. Right? You know, the Labor Day parades. Where are all the Labor Day parades and festivals in your area? Ask Google. I bet they know. I bet they know. All right. Any questions? Let's see, any questions? Do you want more of this? Otherwise, what I was doing is going through more KV core things, because you guys, if you're at EXP, you already have it. You know, and it'll do like the blog thing. Why not? Right? Studies have shown that websites with active blogs get like 60% more traffic. Because when somebody goes to your blog post, it's got a search for properties, it's got a contact you, it's got stuff that somebody find out what your home is worth. It's got stuff that people might click on and react to and produce a lead. All right.
Michael, how about video on your blog? what's going on with that? Because video and some things that I've been seeing, I mean, it's been, not required, but it's been most successful in the last 3 or 4 years. But now people are saying there should be at least the option to click on the video. So if people don't want to read, so if you could speak to that.
Sure. So first of all, some of my blog posts have video. If you were doing the full court press, you would write a blog post. Once you've written a blog post, you'd create a video. Now, I have a system, it's called InVideo, where if I have a blog post, it will actually make a video from the blog post, but it's, whatever. So you would write the blog post, then make a video of you saying what's on the blog post, make an audio, export the audio so that you could put it on a podcast. And then there's a program called Opus. There's others that would take your video and it would go through and pick out pieces of it that could be used as a short or a reel. And you would then put it in the shorts and the reels and the TikTok and all of that sort of stuff. And then you could put your video also on your YouTube channel, but you also could put it inside the blog post. Now, if we're in, let me find KV Core, and if I can get to it. So of the things we can do, we don't have a insert video per se, but you notice we have a source code. So if I were to go, and I have video embedded into my KV Core in certain places. So let me go up here and find, this is okay. So I'm going to go to my channel and I'm going to pick a small video that I did. Enhance your skills, the California Residential Purchase Agreement, right? So I click on this and I go to share, and you'll notice it gives me, there's a link, but it also gives me embed code, which I can copy, and then I can go back here. That's not it. I can go here, and I can, and I have now inserted the video into a blog post. There are other ways of doing it, but this is the simplest. I could link it. I could make a picture of the thumbnail and paste it in and link the picture to YouTube, but why not this? Right? Why not? So if you upload it to YouTube, you can then, embed it into the blog post and make a video, but you ought to do all of the things. So typically we would have a video, we would have the article. The article is more important in the sense for search engine optimization because it's easier for Google to see the words that are in your blog post. Now, Google can understand what your video is saying. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? But it's easier for them to look at the words, keywords, and things like that.
So that's two things. You've got optimization and then engagement with our potential clients.
Some people want to watch the videos and some want to read the text.
Okay,
And
thank you.
You would put in both. You would have the video of you explaining what it says. You would have the text that goes with the video. You would put it in your blog post. You can, share that. I use for social media marketing a program called OneUp, which embeds the video, right? And if I'm putting it out on social media, it's a trade-off. Now, if you've ever been on social media and you see a video and it's playing, like you hover and it's playing, well, that's not a link. They've embedded the video. And that requires something other than what we just did. But there's software to do it and there's ways of doing it. But this is, right now, we want to just start doing it. Right, you understand, you want to start posting things on your blog, you want to start making videos, and don't worry about the fact that the first ones aren't going to be perfect. You know, just get better and keep going, and then pretty soon, you know, it'll be easier. All right,
Yeah, that's great to know. Thank you.
anytime. Okay, next week, I'm going to be talking about contingencies. And we'll do more perhaps on digital marketing. All right, unless I get too many complaints. And Cecilia is saying that I'm just as good as I was 21 years ago. Yeah. I was 9 years old. I was.
Cecilia, make him pay you the $5 I'm gonna send him. Take care.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Bye-bye.
Go get them. Bye.